What's up, y'all? I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for coming back for yet another weekend vlog. So if you can't tell, I'm out here at the Freedom Factory gonna do a little damage assessment after the flooding that we've had out here and see how the robots are working and everything else. But before I get there, I've got something for my cool season friends. As you guys know, the end of August and going into early September is seed season, overseed season, aeration, overseed season. And I went ahead this week and did some content for you. Basically what I did is I took all the content that I've made on seeding lawns over the years and created a podcast where I answered all the most frequently asked questions, talking about the who, what, why, where, and when of lawn seeding. I will give you a link to that podcast below, as well as I've got a full PDF guide, almost 45 pages of detailed information about seed, grass seed labels, how to understand how much we use, all of those different things, everything you would need to know to have a successful seeding. That's a free PDF download, goes perfectly right along with the podcast. And then one more thing that's super important for cool season folks, and it's gonna seem a little bit sales pitchy, but it's important, so please watch this right here. So let me give you a quick rundown on my visit this week to Marysville, Ohio, to the Research and Development Center, or the headquarters of Scott's Miracle-Gro. The first thing I'll let you know is all the guys on the R&D staff, they're lawn care nuts at heart. And what I mean by that is, yes, they're doing scientific studies on this really cool grass that they've created, but along the way, I know they're really enjoying it and having a lot of fun playing around and experimenting with it. They have what I call the official sciencey stuff. This is the true research they do to continually improve the grass. ProVista is not a one-and-done variety of grass. They're continually looking for ways to enhance its attributes. And you can see that through the different test plots in the greenhouse out into the field. But then there's also what I call the fun stuff, the stuff that I would like to be doing. And that's where they have plots like where they're establishing best practices for how to get the grass germinated, grown in, and established. Here they did a slit seeding, and then they tested straw mat coverings, no covering at all. And then the one that was the best was they killed off the existing lawn, scalped it down below 1 inch, and then slit seeded into all the dead stuff. That was the one that performed the best from their testing from this spring. Other test plots they have show various mowing heights they're working on, and yes, this can be mowed low with a real mower. And then they have other areas where they're actually doing traffic studies on the Kentucky bluegrass. They also have various rates of fertilizer going down across the different areas of the campus where the turf is well established. One thing that stood out to me was that while you walk around the campus, there's pretty much ProVista everywhere, from in front of the building to out back to around their research greenhouses. And these guys can rattle off to you exactly how much nitrogen has been put down in each area for the entire year. How many apps a year are you giving this?
So this year it's gotten about 1.4 pounds of nitrogen. 4.5 pounds of nitrogen. 1.4 pounds of nitrogen.
4 months, right there, 4 pounds of nitrogen. Those of you that have been around for a while, you know how awesome that is, that these guys are running all of Scott's Miracle-Gro R&D. This is like a $3 or $4 billion company, and they run all of the research and development, and they know and love their pounds on the ground of nitrogen just as much as we do. Now, I also got to see some real-world ProVista Kentucky bluegrass in some lawns there in the Marysville area, some established from sod, others seed, some a couple years old, some a little bit newer. But the highlight of the trip was Barry's lawn. That's right, this guy right here.
My name is Barry Orhood. I've been here about 32 years, and in the past I've had various grasses growing in. I would get very frustrated trying to take care of it. I had weeds in it, I got that Bermuda grass, and I wanted to do something about it, and lo and behold, here comes Scott's ProVista. I'm going to get goosebumps. That yard is spectacular. Look how thick it is. Very thick. The thicker it is, the less weeds you're going to get. Look at the difference here between my yard, nice bluegrass, thick and dense, and then look over here, my neighbor's border. You won't see any in this yard over here. You could even run on it, folks. You always want to be the best of the best. Well, you can see, right now, it's the best of the best. Scott's ProVista. I'm very happy with the results.
Now, that is not a scripted ad. Barry is the real deal. That is exactly how he is in person, and he is an awesome guy. He actually has the oldest seeded ProVista Kentucky bluegrass lawn in the country. It's 5 years old, and it looks amazing. The funny thing is he vacations down here in Florida quite often, so the next time he's down here, I'm going to have him on the podcast because I know you guys would love him. Okay, so all that to say, we're getting very close to getting this seed for you guys. I made a video a couple weeks ago about it. I'll link up there for you if you want to take a look and get some idea of some of the attributes that make this grass so different from anything else that's on the market. The bottom line is if you're going to seed your lawn this fall, start over completely, and you want to get a pure stand of Kentucky bluegrass that can be kept pure for years. That means no Dallas grass, no goose grass, no crabgrass, no poa annua, no poa triv, no bent grass, no nimblewill, no clumping tall fescue. All of that can be eliminated easily in a ProVista Kentucky bluegrass lawn. If you want a pure stand of dark blue Kentucky bluegrass, then you should get on the list. I have a page below where you can put in your email and we'll notify you once we've solidified pricing and we're ready to start shipping, hopefully in the next 2 weeks. And for those of you who want a little bit of inside baseball, yes, this is a huge partnership for Yard Mastery and Lawn Care Nut to be partnering with the Scott's Miracle-Gro Company. And there's a whole lot more to come over and above just this seed and the selling of this seed. We have a whole lot more content that's going to open up for us coming up next year. So hopefully you'll stay tuned and enjoy. That's right, y'all. We're fortunate enough to be able to partner with Scott's. We're kind of working on some of the details of that right now, and hopefully we'll be able to have seed in our warehouses by the end of this month so we can ship in very early September. That'll be important for those of you that might be waiting for this. We have limited quantities. You got to look at your timing, but we should be able to get it to you in home in the first or very latest the second week of September. So don't forget, if you have any interest at all, please click the link below and sign up for our notification list so you know when the seed is on sale. Again, we're going to have super limited quantities. All right, with that, let's go ahead and take an update here. This is the west side zoysia. Now, this was completely underwater during the hurricane. It's sad too because I've been working really hard on the weeds and I've gotten a lot of good control. You probably can't tell, but the only weeds that are in here is Kalinga. I used to have all kinds of other yellow nutsedge, purple nutsedge. There was also a lot of torpedo grass in here. Almost all of that is gone. I've been spraying it out and working on it. The only thing I haven't been able to get rid of is the Kalinga, and it is still raging, especially after all the water that's been here. I don't know if we can tell, but can you see how it's fluffy in here? Anything fluffy, that is Kalinga. Look, it's just super thick patches of it. Pretty wild. So I was actually here yesterday to spray. We'll look at the Bermuda in a minute, but I went ahead and put some more pre-emergent stuff down. We'll talk about that, but I wasn't able to spray over here because we still have a lot of standing water. By the way, all this brown, that's dead. That's just drowned. I mean, this is sopping wet. This whole area over here held water bad anyway, but now it's really bad. Look at this. Yeah, see, that's just dead. That's not coming back. Yeah, nasty, rotten. But like I said, all this in here, this had broadleaf weeds, all kinds of other stuff. And there you go. There's what the Citrazoe looks like, huh? When it's in a healthy spot. This is our one ideal, beautiful spot. All the rest not doing so well. Actually, this is fine in here because it's not flooded, but all of that is flooded bad. The thing about it is last week, Tuesday, we were supposed to be doing some work out here with that sand right there to hopefully help fill in some of these low spots, but I can see now that sand is not going to do the job there. So we use the sand over here. We're gonna probably need to put in some actual drainage over there. But the idea of the sand, and we're still gonna do it now coming up this week, the idea of the sand was to put it on, and we'll use it over here on the Bermuda for sure to help get that flattened out. But the idea was to mix it with this stuff called Command. It's this microbial infused composted soil. It's called Command soil. We're gonna mix it with this sand and do a full top dressing. So that'll be coming up later this week, but I couldn't wait. You guys know at my house, I've got actually an area that's been ravaged by disease. And anyway, I went ahead and put some Command in that area. So let's go take a look at that from earlier in the week. All right, so I figure I'll give you an update on the gray leaf spot and what it's doing here to my Palmetto St Augustine grass. The thing that kicked all this off, at least being this bad, it's my fault. It's from that terrible mowing that I did where I left all the clippings in here because the entire lawn is infected with gray leaf spot. Let's go over here. This is Floritam. This is currently infected with gray leaf spot, but it's not showing near the damage, right? It's just what I always say to most of you. Most of the time I say if you have gray leaf spot in your lawn, just live with it. It's not going to hurt anything. It doesn't cause long-term damage. Sure, a few areas might thin out here and there. When you look straight down on the lawn from this angle, it might look a little bad, but when you look at it from this angle, it looks fine. No need to throw and slather the earth with all these chemicals, especially this late in the season. That's part of the other reason I say not to use fungicides. We're in August now. It's too late in the season to try to get ahead of this anyway, so just let it go, and you can see that my lawn looks beautiful. However, this is Palmetto St Augustine grass, which number one is more susceptible to gray leaf spot, and number two, as I told you, my poor mowing, allowing the lawn to get overgrown and then packing all of those clippings down on top, it created this perfect situation where the gray leaf spot was really able to take a hold in a greater way and really thin things out and kill it. So look, you see, look when you come down in here, you see this? This is all that dead material. This is my fault. This is all the stuff that I put back down in there and should have raked up when I did that bad mowing. And actually it was kind of 2 bad mowings in a row. And so what that's allowed to do, because of my poor cultural practice of allowing the lawn to get overgrown and then not raking up the clippings, you can see it's allowed the gray leaf spot to really take a hold. And as I mentioned before, the worst part of it is the thing that's actually moving in, all this darker green stuff, this is all wild Bermuda. It's opportunistic. It's going to take the chance to come in now that the St. Augustine stand is weak, and now that wild Bermuda is going to grow. So I can tell you right now, really the best way to take care of this would be to come in here pretty much right away with a sod cutter, cut all this out and resod. That would be the best thing. Would I resod with Palmetto? Well, if I don't want to redo the whole thing, I'd have to do that because other St. Augustine isn't going to match. And then you think, well, if I resod with Palmetto, is it just going to get diseased again? The answer is yes. A lot of things to consider, right? I don't want to live with this. I want to do something, so we're going to try something else. So there's a product I've been hearing a lot about here in Florida. I've seen folks in my groups. In fact, I've seen lawn professionals that apply this product specifically for lawns as a top dressing. I've heard golf course guys talk about it, and I'm going to try it here in my lawn today to help me recover from this gray leaf spot problem that's ravaging my palmetto. I've heard good stories about this stuff. We're going to put this on here. No matter what I do, I'm going to get wild Bermuda. This whole area right here is going to be full of wild Bermuda. I'm just telling you, no matter what I do. But I want to try to recover some of the St. Augustine grass, and I've heard really good stuff about this Command soil. And it does a lot of things, but the biggest thing is it's got a lot of beneficial biology in here. It's called an inoculant. And basically all of that beneficial life that's in that soil should not only improve this area in general in the soil, but what I'm hoping it will do is break down some of this thatch. Because look at that. See that? I gotta break all of that down. I gotta get that broken down so that the grass can consume it and then start filling back in. So it's compost, and then they put their inoculant in there, and then it heats up and it does all this really cool stuff. There's no weed seeds in here, nothing like that. But because it's compost, it does have some nutrient benefit. That means it's gonna have some nitrogen, but this is blackout compliant. Command is not a fertilizer. It's actually a top dressing. It's a soil amendment, and those are not banned during this time of year. So I can go ahead and use it. So I'm gonna go ahead and spread this out in the lawn there, and we'll see what happens. So yeah, being that I'm in a fert ban, I can't really put anything down that would stimulate that St. Augustine to grow back, but I'm hoping that compost will do that along with the microbial benefits, eating up the thatch. Maybe it'll help with the disease too, we'll have to see. So always a lot of fun and something to throw her down and hope for the best. So here is the Bermuda. It's doing fine. It actually flooded, but it's completely drained now. This drain is in the perfect spot. There's no standing water anywhere. And I think we're gonna probably put most of the sand in here. And that is mainly to flatten it out. I don't know if you can see, but there are undulations in here that go through here, and that sand is gonna help us flatten that out, because I don't know if it'll show on the camera, but there's a little bit of a brown area there, a little bit of a brown area there, and it's where there's the undulations, it's where the mowers are slightly scalping when they mow. So not a big deal, gonna be fine. And that top dressing of that Command is gonna be wonderful here. Do have a lot of torpedo grass coming in here though, so something I wasn't prepared to deal with in the Bermuda, but you know. All right, let's talk about these guys. So both of the robots came through the flood fine. They both still work. The only thing I have an issue with is on this one, we got some steel belts here, tire wire we call it, caught around the spindle. That happens quite a bit out here, but they both work fine. And I'll show you on a screenshot. This is right where both of the home bases are, and they were sitting in their home bases during the entire flood. And like I said, they're both out and working now. So there you go. The Crest mowers survived the flood. And here I am out on the Citra Blue St. Augustine grass. Going to give this a nice mow today, which is one of my favorite things to do. Same thing here. We just have sedges coming in. And that's really about it. The nice thing about the Citra Blue St. Augustine grass is it's so thick, you can't really see the weeds in there. It kind of hides them, so it's beautiful. I mean, look at that. Just gorgeous. So, all right, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Leave me your comments and questions below, and I'm gonna enjoy this mow, and I'll see you in the lawn.